Hi, my name is Tessa Long, and I'm currently a fourth-year doctoral student at Sam Houston State University. I am grateful for working with the authors of this poster, Stephanie Haugh, Andy Torres, Francis Morales, Alfonso Mercado, and Jaime Anderson. I'll now briefly present our poster, Validity of the Personality Inventory for DSM-5 Short Form in Latinx Undergraduates. A large body of literature has accumulated supporting the use of dimensional diagnostic models, including for personality pathology. This culminated in the Alternative Model for Personality Disorders, or AMPD, which was added to the Section 3 of DSM-5. The AMPD work group created a measure to assess traits within the AMPD called the Personality Inventory for DSM-5, or PID-5. The PID-5 is a 220-item self-report measure which assesses 5 domains: negative affectivity, detachment, antagonism, disinhibition, and psychoticism, and 25 associated facets. A shortened version of the measure, called the PID-5 short form, was developed as a 100-item version, which captures the same domains and facets as the original. Use of the PID-5-SF has been supported in various cross-cultural samples, including Norwegian, Iranian, Italian, and Spanish. However, little research has explored the potential of ethnic bias. Examining possible ethnic bias within a measure is an important step in ensuring increased cultural sensitivity and utility of our assessment measures. Therefore, the current study aimed to address potential ethnic bias of the PID-5-SF by examining Latinx and Caucasian undergraduates. The study included 700 undergraduates enrolled in courses participating in course credit for their participation. About 87% of the sample was female, and the sample was split in regards to ethnicity. 46.6% were Caucasian and 53.4% Latinx. For the purposes of the current study, the PID-5-SF, Levels of Personality Functioning Scale Self-Report, or LPFS-SR, and the DSM-5 cross-cutting promise measures were extracted from a larger battery. First, we analyzed the data using independent samples t-tests to determine ethnic differences in PID-5-SF means. Results of the independent samples t-tests suggested Caucasian participants reported slightly higher levels of personality pathology over the Latinx respondents on all PID-5-SF domains. Effect sizes range from 0.30 for antagonism to 0.90 for negative affectivity. We then ran zero-order correlations between the PID-5-SF, LPFS-SR, and cross-cutting measures to examine convergent and discriminant validity of the PID-5-SF. Correlation patterns for the PID-5-SF and both external measures were in expected directions for both samples. Finally, we ran separate step-down hierarchical regressions to examine potential slope and intercept bias of the PID-5-SF domains in predicting LPFSR and cross-cutting scores. First, in regards to the LPFS-SR, regressions revealed slope and intercept bias in negative affectivity's prediction of intimacy and total scores. Surprisingly, research also suggested detachment, antagonism, and disinhibition exhibited bias in predicting intimacy. All other LPFS-SR scores exhibited no prediction bias. Second, in regards to the cross-cutting measures, all PID-5-SF domains showed bias in predicting promise domains, with the exception of sleep. For example, negative affectivity demonstrated slight intercept bias in the prediction of anger with a 0.12 change in R-squared, while also demonstrating intercept bias in the prediction of depression with a 0.18 change in R-squared. PID-5-SF detachment exhibited slope bias in predicting anger, anxiety, depression, mania, and repetitive thoughts and behaviors. Bias was evident in all PID-5-SF scales predicting common psychopathological symptoms. As our population increases and we continue to globalize the use of our psychological measures, it is important to determine if these tests exhibit bias. Despite the preliminary nature of these findings, results of the current study suggest slight underprediction of the PID-5-SF in Latinx populations, which may indicate the need for lower cutoffs or clinical consideration. Future studies should continue to examine the PID-5-SF in Latinx respondents across settings, such as within clinical or inpatient environments. Studies should also examine the possibility for bias within additional cultures and ethnic groups to ensure clinical utility of the measure cross-culturally.